Welcome to Bass and Boundaries podcast, the one-stop shop for all things mental health and music. Hello, everyone. We're back on Bass and Boundaries, or as a funding lady said the other day, Bass and Boundaries. I'm always fishing for talent, you see, so I've managed to find an absolutely incredible one. I've got a good catch here. I've got to go with it now. I'm sorry. This is Adam, but he goes by Zurra. How are you, my loves? How are you?
I'm all good, Amy. Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, can't complain. Life's good. What about yourself?
All good, all good. I just love the fact that we talked about the whole thing about like bass and boundaries and fishing and all that stuff. So I had to chuck it in there. So
yeah, it's all right. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, so I found you, I think it might have been Instagram, and it was all to do with sort of AI, because you're a DJ yourself. You obviously produce content, you produce music, and tell people like the story behind you, like what made you start doing this kind of stuff, what made you go into music, and also these absolutely these content videos, which are great.
Oh crikey! Well, the content I'll get to, but
Yeah.
in terms of how I got into music, I actually started off as a hip hop grime MC, like
Okay.
going back a long time ago. Because as a young nipper, I felt like I had a lot to say. So like I was kind of channeling certain feelings and emotions into like writing lyrics and rapping and stuff. And that was something I really enjoyed. And it wasn't until I decided to take music a bit more seriously and go to university and try and develop myself as a songwriter that I actually came across music production. Well, I was producing a little bit before, because all of my songs on Soundcloud, I was using other people's beats. Like I was using Nas beats, I was using Wu-Tang beats and stuff, and they were just getting copyright striked. And I was just like, the world just doesn't want me to be a rapper. So so I had a good friend of mine gave me Fruity Loops, and he was like, just start making your own beats. And don't get me wrong, they're absolutely awful, but at least I was in control at that point.
Yeah.
Had no real interest in dance music, to be honest. Like my whole life kind of revolved around hip hop, grime, and also drum and bass as well, because I did some drum and bass MCing, which was really good fun. And then I accidentally enrolled for the wrong course at uni. So I was supposed to do songwriting, but I ended up on the electronic music production course. And I was just like, I'm not even going to fight this. I'm just going to roll with it, see what happens. And yeah, fell in love with house, fell in love with garage and the whole spectrum of dance music. And then, yeah, just kind of chucked myself in head first, made a few tunes, which did quite well. And I was like, yeah, this could be the new me. So I just kind of embraced it, really. And yeah, 10 years later, I'm still going strong. So must be doing something right. And as a natural progression of that, obviously, like I've been making music, playing some really cool gigs and stuff like that. But as a natural progression of that, yes, I've had to kind of step into the world of content creation and stuff like that as well, which, you know, when I'm speaking to my peers, anyone really, they're like, you know, it's like it's an ugly word. People don't really like using the word content, but I've been one of the people that just kind of embrace it. Like at first I was like, oh, it's a bit of a dirty word, I don't really like dedicating time to doing it, but now I actually really enjoy doing it. And there are so many things that interest me, like not just in the world of DJing, but like, you know, music production and just, you know, the creative space in general, right? That I have an opinion on, that I like talking to people, kind of creating a bit of an open forum and stuff. And then also just kind of putting a bit of a comedic twist on things as well. So yeah, at first it was a bit of a chore, but now I really enjoy it. And it's a big part of my online presence, I think.
And your online presence is what struck me, because you can tell you enjoy it. And I think that's a lot of people do find social media like they're missing something when they're posting, and it's that like like I want to say dedication, but like that soul and energy that they put into it. Like some of this, like the things that I've watched of you, they absolutely killed me, and it was just like that's the thing that you want to do. You want to be watching people that are entertainers, and then they're promoting what they do as well. So you're doing the right things, definitely.
I appreciate that, thank you. And that's, you know, that's kind of what you want. That's what you want, really, when you're doing this stuff. Like, so yeah, I'm glad that that's being received the way it's supposed to. So thank you for that.
No, you're so welcome. So the lot of things that you're talking about at the moment is about AI and with the Suno soldiers, and I keep seeing that thrown up everywhere, and I can't stop using it. So so I personally have tried Suno. And I wrote this tune, I wanted to put it into something, and it came out with something, and I was like, well, it's not bad, but they all sound the same. And it kind of butchered what I put my mind to, and it kind of ruined it for me. And then I started going down these rabbit holes of Suno, and it just makes me gag. I can't cope. You know, like when I go onto Spotify and I've got a playlist that automatically drops drum and bass on a Friday. And there was a little freaking Suno one that was in there. And I listened to it and I went, I could have done that in 2 minutes and chucked it on Spotify and get paid.
The problem is everyone can do that. Like literally everyone has the ability to do that now. It's terrifying.
Yeah. I think it's just for the basis of people like yourself and other people that I've interviewed where they're spending hours, months, they go start a project, they come back to it because they can't get it right. And you know, thinking, all right, what I felt 3 months ago, I don't feel like that now towards that track, I'm going to change it and stuff like that. That's art. So what happened like with you that made you go, I'm going to start talking about this and being like me, very honest about it?
I think it's because I saw like you said, I see a lot of Suno soldiers online, and like there's actually now just, I mean, as if it wasn't oversaturated already, but like now, like everyone's getting in on this because of how accessible it is. And don't get me wrong, I think the advancements in technology over the past, 2-3 decades has made it gradually more accessible to more people anyway. Because if you wanted to make music back in the day, before my day, for sure, you would have had to have gone to an actual studio with actual musicians to make it. So now, obviously, with the introduction of like synthesizers and, DAWs and stuff like that, it has slowly made it more accessible. And this is just another tool to make it more accessible again. However, you can write nothing. You can basically write nothing like of any substance and it will give you something. And that's crazy to me because like even in music production simplest form, like, take Suno out of the equation. Like, let's say you've got Splice, for example, which is something that most producers are using. It's a great tool. You can just you can just layer a bunch of samples off there and call it a tune if you want. Like that for me there's still a level of creativity to that because you're choosing the samples and it might sound terrible, but you're making the decision of what's going to go where and how things are layered and the structure and arrangement and stuff. Whereas with Suno, you just write a sentence and then it will give you a whole track. And for me, that's a bit weird. And I've seen a lot of big names actually really embrace the technology, which is cool. For me, I can't get on board with it because I think that it's putting people out of jobs effectively, especially vocalists, co-producers, additional producers, ghost producers and stuff. All these people now effectively are, going to have to scrap for whatever they can, maintain work-wise. And that just doesn't sit well with me at all. Doesn't sit well with me.
It doesn't me either. I mean, especially like, yeah, you say big names that are embracing it. But for me, I found it was actually on LinkedIn. I went on like a discovery call because I do coaching as well. So I went on this discovery call with this coach and he's like, one of them larger than life guys. He's like, do you want to make 10 grand in a month? And you're like, whoa, okay. Like, and it was about, but his pricing for his courses was in excess between 2 and 5 grand. Now, if you're a starter up, you haven't got that sort of money, especially if you like what you call bootstrapping like me. I'm just doing it because I'm not getting myself into debt. But like he was promoting all of this stuff. But then I noticed something. He sent like a sample. It was AI generated. It was done on ChatGPT. And I was like, oh, mate. But then he writes these big posts on LinkedIn and he's calling out people for using AI. You're using it. And then you're charging people thousands of pounds for the same privilege. But this is the thing that got me is that he's outing all these people on and especially people like me that's bootstrapping. He's like, oh, if you're a bootstrapper, then but you got to where you are before AI. It's the same with, I'm going to drop his name in it, Diplo. Like, I'm seeing a lot about him at the moment. I don't care. He can come for me. I don't care. I don't care. Who am I, really? He's not going to listen. But he's been all over social media saying, I use AI. I'm proud to use it. But you didn't used to. So why do it now? Like, where's that creative spark gone?
Yeah, I did. No, I completely agree. I do find that really bizarre that now, I mean, I suppose now that the technology is available, like there are elements of convenience. I do get that and stuff like that. And like just looking at it from like a vocalist point of view, right? Like obviously Haven's I Run, that got a lot of backlash because that was an AI vocal. And I mean, that was in the charts, very popular, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
the story behind that is that the producer, I believe it was the producer anyway, wrote and recorded it, but just switched out the vocal for an AI vocal.
Okay.
They've done the hard work, they've written it, and that, you know, they've got a melody that works and stuff like that. I just don't know why they couldn't have hired an actual vocalist to do that. Like, you know, like if you've got the idea, you've actually done the hard work, it's written, you've found a melody and stuff like that that works, a hook that works. Why not just like finish the project properly and get a vocalist to do that for you? And then you don't get this negative AI backlash and stuff like that. Because it did, you know, it kind of, you know, put the use of AI into the spotlight because of how popular that song is. So when you say that Diplo's now using it like now, but he wasn't using it before, like these people obviously have the ability to make good music without
good
music, because we've been doing it for God knows how long. It's just now that the technology is convenient. It's like anything, if it's convenient and it's just there, it's like, oh, some people are probably thinking, well, why wouldn't I use it? But like I'm not in that frame of mind. I'm like, I just can't connect with that way of thinking at the minute, because I'm like, no, there's a better way, a more authentic way to get this job done, rather than asking a computer to do it for me. That's just my way of thinking personally.
No, it's mine as well, because I do look at it like I could program ChatGPT, whatever. It offers me like business plans and all of this. Like, yeah, I can write down all of your appointments for you. I still have an old school organizer, and I will literally write all my appointments down, because I just feel like when I put my creative energy into something that I enjoy doing, like I could use AI to edit my entire podcast. I won't. I do it on my own. So yeah, sometimes I miss out the odd word, or sometimes like it doesn't line up, or the internet glitches or whatever. But I prefer more authentic things because it's human.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And also the damage that all of this technology is doing to the planet as well. Like it's like, I don't want to go down I don't want to go down an eco warrior route, but like it is very much like that should be the thing that we're most worried about. Not necessarily, oh, is that vocal AI? Like, is that use of AI causing unnecessary damage to the planet and in turn us? Yes, it is. So we need to kind of knock that on the head, really.
Did you ever see on chat? So you're in the same country as me, so you get it. Like Channel 4 years ago, it was about 15 or so years ago, they did a program called Humans.
Right. Okay. I don't.
Did you ever see it? No. Well, they still have like remnants of it online, but it was basically there were robots that looked like people, and they had different colored eyes, and they were acting, walking, talking like humans, but you could tell the difference.
Right.
And the program itself really delve into like AI and stuff. I mean, this is like 15 years ago. People was like, that would never happen. I genuinely now believe that's going to happen. We're going to have people that aren't people, but they end up becoming sentient beings in this program. So they start to feel. And I'm like, do you think this is going to happen? Because I do. I think that could absolutely, it seemed far-fetched years ago.
But now it's like, it's literally on our doorstep, isn't it? Like, people would have said the same about Terminator 2, like Skynet and all this stuff. But like, we're actually living with that technology now. So yeah, all this media, like from years ago, that depicted a dystopian future with all this stuff. It is slowly coming to fruition, isn't it? Like, life imitates art. Is that the right way around? I don't know. There's a saying there. I might have got it the wrong way around, but yeah. Anyway, it's very much like someone's imagined it, thinking, "Wow, this is so far fetched. This is sci-fi." But people are like, "Well, actually, can we make that happen?" And then you get the right people in the room together, and they do make that happen. So yeah, I don't think we're far away from robot people.
No, it's literally a robot in a wig, isn't it, at this point? Do you know what I mean? Like, it frightens me, because it's like I've seen documentaries about like even people choosing to be with AI partners instead of a real human now.
Come on. Really?
No, I'm deadly serious. There's a I was on YouTube, and it was like this man, he was like, oh, I've got this like AI girlfriend and all of this. And I'm like, each to their own, mate, but it ain't real. Or I suppose it's no different than people that wasn't there a woman or something at one point, she like married the Eiffel Tower or something?
never heard that, but that doesn't surprise me. Like it takes all sorts, doesn't it? Like there are some very strange people on this planet. So
I just love that though. I love that there are strange people because it does like keeps it a little bit like, but I don't like boring. And I
yeah.
think that's like why I didn't do well in corporate jobs, because I was so bored. Like literally sat there like, these people, they're just okay with mundane. I'm not okay with mundane. Like,
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. Yeah, we need the wacky ones. We do need the wacky ones to keep
absolutely.
life interesting, don't we?
Yeah, I think that's the same with anything with the music though, like especially from me talking to majority is drum and bass artists, and I always say we're all like riddled with something because we're all absolutely off it, and I love it. Like we're not boring people, and that's what I love about it, just that everyone's got their own creative energy. And do you find that, have you ever actually met anyone in the music world that is boring and produces music?
You know what? I don't. God. Actually, yes, but I'm not going to name them because
No, don't do that. No.
it's a very unpleasant interaction, actually. But like, you never know what someone's going through. So, like, I'll give
Absolutely.
So I'm sure in any other context, they're probably an amazing human being. I just didn't have a great interaction with them. But 99.999% of the interactions I've had with people in the music industry have been so much fun, full of belly laugh.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I just think that the creative industries, whether that's music, movies, theater, whatever it might be, there's something about our brains that's just different to everyone else. Like if you're a creative, and I think that people just gel and people interact really well with each other. Like when you're in that kind of creative space. So I've never met a boring person in the music industry.
No, I'm yet to, if I'm honest. I think, do you know what I love about the music scene though, is that like everyone's really supportive. There's like no jealousy. There's no people going, oh, I'm jealous of that person, I'm gonna try and sabotage their career or whatever. Like I've worked in corporate, and that hospitality is the worst for jealousy and bitchiness and all this. And I'm yet in the music industry to meet someone that's like, I'm gonna sabotage their career. I've not seen it yet.
Yeah, it's bizarre because you do hear stories of it, and it's like, especially like people in like, positions of power and stuff, whatever that means to you. But like, I've not witnessed any of that myself. I think that you can sometimes see a little bit of like clickiness and stuff, and like, gatekeepership, but I think you get that everywhere, to be honest. So I don't think that's something exclusively to me. You would get it like in a hospitality job as well. You get those characters wherever you are. So it's in
so many stories on hospitality. I could literally do a whole podcast just on hospitality. Like, yeah, I had to leave it. I was great with the customers and the interactions, but it's the people you work with, because you're with each other all the time. You don't get on with someone, oh, it's game over. Like,
yeah, because it's overwhelming. You're in each other's space the whole time. But the thing is, the hospitality industry is desperate for people like you, Amy, because you are good. You're obviously going to be good with the people, but it does attract some absolute knobs as well that are not the opposite end of the spectrum to yourself. So it's just a boiling pot of personality clashes. Just waiting to.
God, yeah. I mean, like I used to be called like the nanny at my old job, because like people come to me with their problems. And because they know I'd go to management about it. And so they clocked onto that very quickly. They'd be like, well, if I go to her, she'll actually say something because I'm too scared to say it. But I'll do it in quite a diplomatic way. I'm like, this person's struggling, whatever. But then you end up becoming the bad guy because you're the one that's bringing this to the management's attention. I had to get out of there. Like genuinely had to get out of hospitality. I loved it. I used to work at Costa. So I was like, oh,
I love Acosta.
I love Costa. We love it. However, the hours and, like I say, because there's a creative element in Costa, when you're doing the latte art and stuff like that. And I used to, when anyone order a flat white, I'd be buzzing, getting so excited because I get to do the little like patterns and that kind of thing, and in talking to the customers and stuff like that. And if you had like a horrible Karen in or whatever, you can use that as an opportunity to try and like make them see like your behavior is awful. And I'm one of them. I'll ask them questions, I'll get them talking, and they're kind of like, oh, I can't be horrible to this person despite trying. But I think that's the thing. I haven't seen it in the music scene at all, and I think it's lovely actually.
Yeah, too right. It's a good space. It's a good space, and I think that especially in like the kind of underground circles as well. Like it just seems very supportive. Like, you know, whether that's in drum and bass, whether that's in, you know, UK garage, you know, people are continually trying to build each other up, and that's nice to see. Yeah, rather than seeing people cut each other down, it's a good place to be.
What do you think of so I've been told that through sort of like, so we kind of like UK garage is like absolutely we took that crown, because other countries have tried to do the same thing. It doesn't work, like, can I say? But I would say, and this is quite controversial, I think that Belgium have got quite a prevalent drum and bass scene.
I don't think that's a controversial statement at all.
No, but everyone I've spoke to that's not from Belgium, they're like, no, it's England. I'm like, it's really not. There's nothing here in comparison. Yeah,
they've really got it figured out over there. To be honest, the first time I'd ever even like heard of like jump up drum and bass and stuff like that was through a friend of mine, Jack Headex. So me and him were mates growing up and stuff like that. So you know, we had a few like musical ventures before he became Headex, and I was a hip hop MC. He used to make beats for me like that. But like I remember the first time he got booked over in Belgium, and like this is before he'd, you know, really released any music under Headex and stuff like that. And he was just like, I was just like, why are you going to Belgium, mate? Like, it's just like, oh no, you have no idea what it's like over there. Absolutely no idea. And I saw clips of his gig when he came back. First of all, I wasn't familiar with that level of drum and bass before. Like I love my liquid, my rollers and stuff like that. But I never really heard like in your face jump up like that before. And I was just like, oh, okay, shit. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't as well.
No, you're fine. It's not fine.
I was just like, okay, we need to do something with this. That's one of the coolest things I've ever heard. Yeah. And yeah, after that, like I just started paying attention to what was going on in Belgium and the music that was coming out there and the events that was happening. And my days, like, you know, that's like the fortress of solitude when it comes to drum and bass for sure.
And I would say that, and this is probably another controversial stance, but I think that like Germany's got sort of is it the trance scene covered?
Germany's very, very techno heavy.
No, that was it. Yeah. They've got it smashed down. Like
the whole going out experience in Belgium, from what I understand, I've not actually been to Germany. The whole going out experience in Germany is very different to what we know in the UK, from what I've been told anyway. Like, you know, they're not even getting to venues until like 3-4 a.m. Like, you know, so they definitely know how to party in Germany, and especially Berlin.
I want to go so bad, like, because when my dad was alive, he did a lot of work in Germany, and he said about the nightlife is absolutely insane over there. Like,
this is the thing, they've got Berghain, of course, which is like, you know, you're not even guaranteed to get in. Like the bouncers, like they can just take a look at you and be like, not tonight, and then they'll let the people behind you in. So it's like it feels like there's something that happens behind those doors that I just want to know what's going on behind there. So I'm going to make that my life's mission to get into Berghain.
I think that needs to go on your bucket list 1,000,000%. Like, go and find out, investigate.
I will do. I'll let you know what I find.
So did you ever get into like the clubland scene? So like,
to be honest, I think that was probably my first exposure to dance music, because growing up, it was a lot of watching Stars TV. Channel U or Channel AKA, whatever it ended up being. And on Stars, there was a lot of Darren Styles, Ultra Beat, and that kind of stuff. And I loved that. For me, there's like a real pocket of nostalgia there for me that I like to revisit from time to time. But I wouldn't say that I necessarily invested into it any further than that. Like that was just the only way that I consumed music back then, was what was on TV or what was on the radio.
I remember those days well. Yeah.
Every now and then you'd have a look on YouTube, but there was very rarely any, you know, good music on YouTube back then. So yeah, I was just consuming that just because that's was being forced onto me, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that is a space that interests me, because I know how passionate people are about that whole clubland experience, and it's, you know what, it's still going strong. Like it's still going super strong, and that sound is, I think that is one of maybe 5 sounds in the UK that will never die. Like alongside drum and bass, house, UK garage, you got your clubland stuff, and just trying to think what else. Let's say 4 then. Let's say 4 to save me thinking of one.
I think clubland was kind of like, I felt like majority of it was aimed for us anyway, because for years. Like that's how I got introduced to the dance world, because it was round about 2009, 2010 for me. It was like that sort of like where Avicii was starting to kind of make, like EDM was making an appearance. But I always loved Pendulum, but I never would have said, oh, I was a massive emo. So like I would never have said that Pendulum was anything but my sort of, it was kind of like a blend, wasn't it, between sort of dance and rock. It was kind of, if they had a baby, it'd be Pendulum. Like,
I think that second album, In Silico, was very much where they were like, okay, let's experiment with, you know, more rocky tones and stuff. And I remember, you know what, it's so weird, some songs you know exactly where you were when you first heard it. And I remember my dad was driving me to training for Cambridge United on a Friday night. We had radio on in the car, and I can't remember exactly who. It must have been Zane Lowe.
probably,
And he was playing it for like the first radio play or whatever, and that was for Propane Nightmares. And I remember hearing that and thinking, holy shit.
Yeah, literally
One of the craziest like audio experiences I've ever had in my life. And I was familiar with Pendulum before, but because that was such a different take on the Pendulum sound, I was just like, right, I need to hear that again. I need to hear that again. Like, we just kept the radio on all night to hopefully hear it again. But yeah, crazy, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, you couldn't go and stream it back then or Shazam it. So like,
no, the song wasn't even out. You know, it was an exclusive first place. So like, I was trying to find it wherever I couldn't find it. And then when the album came out, my old man got a copy for me, and I was very happy bunny after that. I actually managed to see Pendulum live for the first time last year in Cardiff.
Nice.
Just unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable. It was like 14-year-old me was like literally like so giddy while I was there. And even their new stuff is just like, you know, still really groundbreaking, some of the stuff that they're doing, like still with the rocky elements, but also introducing elements of like trap with their collaboration with Scarlord and stuff like that. It's really cool. Really, really cool.
They have the ability to be able to trial things, and it always seems to just work.
Yeah. Like, that's a testament to, you know, just how I just love to be a fly on the wall in the studio session with Rob Swire, because like,
he's amazing.
What a genius. I mean, you know, Pendulum, but also Knife Party as well. I know Knife Party was a very specific pocket of time, but you know, even then they were pushing boundaries with that as well. So yeah.
Massively. Was it Internet Friends that was the one? Yeah, I can hear it. I remember it was going around. I think I was in college when that came out, and it was like, you blocked me on Facebook, and I was like, oh my god, and everyone was like, they were loving it, but that was quite controversial for its time. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Still banger. So yeah, can't say a bad word.
When Deadmau5 did, he did quite a few collaborations with Wobb's Fry. They used to come out with some serious stuff.
I think it was Ghosts and Stuff, I think, was the big one for Deadmau5 for sure. Like, that was everywhere. And now, you know, I love Deadmau5 to pieces. Like, I think it was his set at Ultra last year. That's obviously his most commercially successful song, and he was playing it in his set, and he had like the saddest look on his face, no energy at all. Like, you can just tell he's done playing that song for people. But it was amazing. Like, you know, just seeing the people like enjoy the fact that he's sick of playing that song. Like, you know, it's all
he's got quite a dry sense of humor, because there's a fun fact about him. Actually, I used to be friends with someone that used to game with him.
Oh wow.
And I'd gone round, and he was like, oh, I'll literally be a couple of minutes, I'm just playing with Deadmau5. And I was going, oh, that's a cool username. It didn't register.
Yeah.
And then he was like, as in the Deadmau5. I'm going, shut up, give me the mic, like trying to talk to him, like. And he was so lovely, like really, really nice guy. Like, but I suppose like that's why I do sort of these podcasts, because you can see a persona online and you kind of assume that's what they're like all the time, and half of them aren't.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, you know, it's we're dealing with a world of alter egos, aren't we? So like, you know, it's very much you know, sometimes, you know, what you see is what you get with people, but also like I do feel like sometimes there's the person and then there's the brand, and I think that the brand has a certain attitude or a certain presentation that they have to stick to, and the person can be a, you know, complete opposite end of the spectrum to that.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a cool thing that we get to do. Like, we get to almost kind of embrace a character with, you know, how we present ourselves online, or how we present ourselves visually or audio wise with the music. So yeah, I really I've got the Avengers behind me, right? So like, you know, I'm a big fan of alter egos and secret identities and stuff. So yeah, it's something cool that we can embrace.
Do you think you have one, or do you think you're just you?
I'll be honest, like a lot of the time it's just an exaggerated version of me, but also like it depends what kind of content I'm putting out as well. So like when it comes to music and me performing and stuff like that, that's just me with confidence dialed up to 11 basically. Which in most situations I don't have, like, but when I'm DJing, it's like, oh, you know, throw being shy out the window for an hour or two, let's go. But like when it comes to the content stuff, if I'm trying to start a conversation, or if I'm just like getting stuff off my chest, that is genuinely me showing interest in a certain topic. And then there are certain things where I'm putting a bit of a character on. But I do think that there's a clear line between the two. Like, I don't think that there's much of a gray area where people are like, I don't know if this guy's being serious or not. I think I do make an effort to disconnect from, you know, me being serious me and me being a different version of me that's having fun, you know?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think I have to kind of like scale a lot of my personality back, because if I am completely myself on a podcast, every single F-bomb would be dropping, and you know, like, I don't know, I try just to be me. I think sometimes that's what people crave, is just being authentic. But genuinely speaking, like, I've seen people that I've interviewed, they're really, really sort of like out there online, but you know, when you talk to them, totally different.
Yeah.
I love that though, because like that's the real version of them. But yeah, you're right, because we have to effectively become a brand.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you want to style that brand? I just say how it is. That's my brand.
Yeah, fair. Absolutely. I suppose the difference is, like, you know, when we're putting ourselves out there with a certain energy and stuff like that can be exhausting. Like, that can be absolutely exhausting. So you need to be able to dial that back from time to time. But I love how you come across online, because it's no nonsense, and that's my kind of people. Like, let's just get down to the nitty gritty kind of thing. So yeah.
Literally, I think like there's a lot of I haven't seen in the drum and bass world or the house world or whatever, anyone with like a hero complex, if you know what I mean by that.
I think I do, but just expand on that, because I'm interested.
So a hero complex, let me take it in an example where if somebody is injured at a scene, let's say, and you'll have a passersby that like genuinely wants to help, or then you'll see someone that's like, I could help, that's going to give me attention. And I've like, that's kind of like the hero complex, like, look at me, I'm a hero, I'm amazing, so in this case, I produce the best music, I'm amazing. I've seen it in the EDM scene, but not so much with like the drum and bass world.
Yeah, I think there's something about EDM where it's like, you know, it kind of attracts the bigger personalities, the bigger egos and stuff like that, just because like it's such a large scale operation, EDM, whereas drum and bass, obviously you see that on a large scale, but you know, at like the kind of EDM bubble, whatever that means to you, because that can mean a bunch of different things. I know people that consider house EDM, but like if it's that kind of commercial electronic dance music that came about predominantly from America and the Netherlands, I think that it just attracts these huge personalities because of how big the music is itself, if that makes sense. So funnily enough, now that you've described your hero complex, I've got one story. I'm not going to mention who it was.
No, don't do that. But yeah, no, we like stories on here. So
I was at, even saying where I was might give it away, but I was at an event. It was abroad, and you know, it's a very famous DJ who is quite well known for doing crazy things while they're playing.
No idea, it could be anyone.
Perfect. We're good then. We're good. There was a situation with a certain prop, which is, because again, this will give it away. There's a certain prop that they use in this show, which they usually throw out into the crowd, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this prop was thrown with such force that a girl was hit with the prop in her head, and you know, you could audibly hear her head hit the floor. Like, it was not a nice thing to witness, kind of thing. And you know, understandably, they stopped the show, started getting everyone out and stuff like that. And then they did say that it was safe to go back in, but this particular person was kind of making it about, well, the artist was making it about them and not the person that had been damaged kind of thing. And that left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth, because it was just like, actually, you could have just left it to professionals to look after them kind of thing, rather than making yourself look like the person who's fixed the problem kind of thing. But that's the only instance I think I've ever seen where
that's a hero complex. I suppose it's like a brand of narcissism, isn't it? Like, look at me, I'm amazing.
Yeah.
How can I make this about myself to portray the hero in this?
Yeah.
And I think we see a lot of it in, you know, like high-end jobs, not mentioning any particular names, but people I've worked for, they've got like this arrogance around them. But like, I've seen it in other music genres, but I've not really seen it in the D&B world. I mean, even like the likes of a prime example, the Worship guys, you know, 1991, even though he's massive, will still like my messages if I ever pop him a message, or he'll read them. And I think, dude, like, that he's humble. I like people like that. He's humble. So much success, but he's so like, he give you, I could, like I said, could be completely wrong, but from what I get feeling wise, like, he seems like a really genuinely nice guy.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, you do see that in people, like, you know, doesn't really matter how big they get or how much status they acquire and stuff like that. You know, if they still take the time to, like, you know, check in, read messages and stuff, because a lot of the time these guys aren't even looking after their own inboxes. So to have that, you know, that connection still with people, I think is really important. And, you know, we all hope that that's something that we don't lose as things get bigger, you know. So yeah, that's something that I would like to think, you know, touch wood, my career gets to a point like a 1991 or you know, that I would never lose touch with, you know, staying connected with the people that have supported me from day one, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I mean, like, there's been quite a few people. Our prime example is an artist called 5X. And I have been with him since he had like 40 followers on TikTok, and he's just blown up. He's, you know, and I messaged him, like, every now and again I put in the comments, been with you since the start, and he's like, I know you have, and I'm so grateful. And he's just like, I just reached out, and I just says, I would love you to come on my podcast. And he was like, yeah, all right then. Like, and that's him, like, effectively saying thank you for being there with him from the start, and he's now helping me. And it's like, that's the beauty of this community that effectively it is. And I do notice as people get bigger, the management takes over, and then you kind of lose them a little bit. But like, every now and again, some artists that I deal with, they come back onto their own socials, and you know it's them, and it's not it's like generic message. And I like that, because I think, well, you've remembered the people that have been with you since the start, and like, it's lovely.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely makes a difference for sure. You know, it makes you feel appreciated from a supporter's point of view.
Absolutely. How do you deal with, like, so if you ever, you know, you create a track, you've been sending it out, it's not getting much response. How, I ask this a lot because I get a lot of new people up and coming that watch and listen. How do you deal with setbacks?
Well, in terms of like releasing music, like, you know, if something doesn't perform the way I thought it was going to, I'm going to give you a very grown-up response, but I'm also going to give you the response that from me like a few years ago. So me a few years ago would have gone into the analytics, like been like, right, well, where is this being listened to? Like, why is it falling flat? Like, what playlists are supporting it? What playlists aren't supporting it? Why aren't they supporting it? Blah, blah, blah. So I'd look for any reason why it's not doing as well as I thought it would.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it becomes a little bit of you know, you don't find the answers you want, and like the not knowing kind of makes you feel a little bit less good about it. So like, it just kind of makes the whole experience worse. Anyway, 2026 Adam, I couldn't care. Like, I put the music out, right? If the right people find it, the right people find it, you know. And if the people don't find it, they'll find the next one, because like, I'm putting enough out there that, like, you know, I'm gonna find my audience for this music. And actually, I'm at a very strange point at the moment, because like, I've been very public with me changing my sound and stuff like that, because for the past 10 years it's predominantly been tech house. And I don't get me wrong, I still love tech house, but like, I just don't like the direction that scene is going. It's kind of split off into two branches.
Yeah.
One is the very American, you know, sound, where it's all like literally the bass line in every song is dun 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 dun. Like every single song sounds exactly the same on that end of the spectrum. And then you've got the other end of the spectrum, which is kind of developed into minimal deep tech, which I actually really like the production on that. But again,
yeah,
a lot of it sounds the same. So I kind of wanted to deviate from both of those paths and try something new, try something original. In the process, I've released music which hasn't performed the way I thought it would, but I am now in the frame of mind where I'm like, it's all good. It's going to find the right people when the time is right. Like, I'm not going to try and force this down people's throats. Like, if it's not something that's for them, or it's a bit of a shock to people who know me for a certain sound, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm getting something completely different now, and they don't know how to feel about that. That's fine. I'm going to find the right people for this music. It's just a process. It's going to take time. So yeah. 5 years ago, I would have given you an answer that was very like pessimistic and like, oh, why is it not happening? Blah, blah, blah. But now it's very much like it's a process. It's going to take time. And I've come to peace with that. Like I went into this change of direction knowing that it wasn't going to hit the ground running and it was going to take time to build. So yeah, that's where my head's at now. But for anyone that is releasing music that is maybe not getting the results that they want at the moment, it is a consistency thing. So if you're new to it, like, you can't expect anything to blow up straight away. You just can't. Like, you know, every now and then you get a success story like Martin Garrix, who's 17 years old. He's got the biggest track in the world, but that doesn't even make up 0.0001% of, you know, the reality of the situation when it comes to music. So seeing those stories is very inspiring, but it's also not the reality for the majority of people. So yeah, if you're putting music out, not getting the results you want, just, you know, trust the process. I hate using that term, but it is so true. Like, there is a process, just run with it, keep putting stuff out. Eventually the right people will gravitate towards you. So yeah, don't be discouraged.
I think so as well, because like what you put out ultimately comes back to you. I'm one that's quite optimistic. I have the same principle. If I'd have said, so 10 years ago, I had a completely different career, but I was primarily on YouTube, and it blew up. Like, I did amazing. I got to the YouTube studios and stuff, but I just gave it all up and I started over and I started this. And I've been the same, because it's algorithm based now. YouTube used to just be able to throw it out to the right people and you just generate views again and again. Spotify is very much like that. And that's why I'm pro Spotify over YouTube, because YouTube just like chucks it out to anyone and people are like, well, I don't want to listen to that podcast, so you don't get the views. But that's the thing, I no longer care. Do you see what you don't
Absolutely.
care?
Yeah, and it's the freedom that comes with that is, you know, it gives you so much flexibility and so much room to focus your energy elsewhere, you know, because yeah, like you're free from the restraints that kind of holds on to you.
I think we genuinely do hold ourselves back by our thoughts. Definitely.
Yeah, without a doubt. But yeah, as soon as you kind of, you know, let go of that, then yeah, it's a sense of freedom, especially when you're a creative as well, that you won't have experienced before. So like, when you do let go of that, like, it's like, oh my God, I can actually express myself more so now that I've kind of let go of that. So yeah, I would encourage people to go through the shit bit first, because everyone's got to go through it. And then when you do finally learn to let go, boom, all kinds of things can happen.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just like the ability of not caring, it just opens up so many doors. I think that even I'm not political. I try not to be political on this platform, but like, there are some, as you know, in the UK, far right, far left. But I have respect for both sides, because they both have the balls to speak how they feel online and get persecuted by the other side. But I think like they say how they feel. And I think the bravest people do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not easy putting yourself out there. It's a vulnerable space to be in, isn't it? Like, when you're actually putting your true self out there, because it's very much like a, take me as I am kind of thing, you know? And yeah, I think as soon as you get over the fear of people knowing exactly who you are and what you stand for, like, I don't know, like I've only had this realization very recent in my life, you know, like maybe in the past 2 years. So now, like, I'm with you. I don't care. Like, you know, take me as I am. And I look at, in the fitness space, there's a guy called James Smith, PT. Have you come across him before?
Yes, I have, yeah. Yeah.
He is such a Marmite character. Like, I've spoken to people that absolutely hate him or absolutely love him. And I think it's similar to what you were saying earlier. It's like you've got two ends of the spectrum. And that can be said for anything, not just politics. Like, he is very much like, you're either going to love what I say or you're going to hate what I say. And because he's so polarizing, he's found his people. So now I kind of look to him for a bit of inspiration content wise now, because I post things that either people agree with so much that they're like, oh, I'll give you a follow, check your music out, blah, blah, blah. Or they'll disagree with me so much that they will comment or DM me or, like, you know, just go at me kind of thing. And I'm like, this is driving engagement. So this is fine either way.
Yes, it's me PayPal. Do you know what I mean? Like,
so yeah.
Do you know there's another fitness guy called Eddie Abu?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I've got him as a friend on Facebook, but like he's inspired me as well. Like, he's got the balls to go into Tesco and be like, this is shit. Like, I love him. I love him so much for that.
His content's great. Like, again, a very Marmite person. You'll either love it or you'll hate it. Like, I think vegetarians and vegans will definitely hate it. But but I
hate me then, because I'm keto. So I literally primarily carnivore and keto. So
oh, nicely done. Nicely done. I did keto for quite a while, maybe about 18 months. So like about 5, I'm just trying to think, what year are we in?
2026.
About 11 years ago, I was at uni and I ballooned up to like 18 and a half stone, but like not a good 18 and a half stone. Like, it was just drinking a lot, you know. I was at uni, so I was drinking a lot and I was eating a lot.
Of course, yeah.
Like, I just had this like light bulb moment where I was just like, oh my God, I need to fix this now. And like, I have these like epiphanies from time to time, and then it's like I can just lock into something.
Absolutely.
The next day I was just like, I was up at 5 going for a run. Like, I'd sorted like my diet out completely. Like, I knew exactly what I was going to be eating throughout the week, and I relied heavily on keto to get me through that. The first week or two was rough. Like, that was because I was so carb heavy. So carb heavy before that, like, transferring my energy source from carbohydrates to fats, that was a hell of an adjustment, and my body wasn't agreeing with it. But after that hump, I felt amazing. Like,
I feel amazing. Yeah,
it's honestly, like, I think that people should incorporate that into, like, even if you don't adopt it as like your, you know, even if you don't adopt it full time, like, chuck some keto meals in the mix, because it's like, you know, the benefits are, you know, ridiculous.
Insanely good. I think it's because I'm insulin resistant, so that's how I kind of came about. I came about it about 10 years ago, and it dropped off me. That first time I lost like 4 stone really quick. Wow. No, but if I eat carbs and sugar, the weight just skyrockets. Whereas if I'm on keto, yes, the weight loss is quite steady. I've been on it 2.5, 3 weeks, and half a stone's just gone like that. Like, but now it's teetering like this. It's steady, and that's fine. But for me, it's I've got no pain. I'm not in pain.
Yeah,
which is like, I get inflammation really bad, and it's like I'm fixing my body, but people don't realize that. You go, oh, you're eating butter for breakfast. Like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, it's actually quite nice, but like, I put butter in my coffee, mate. Wait till you hear that one. Like,
okay, I've not come across that one before.
You not heard of keto fat bomb? Like, you
keto
coffee. So you make a normal coffee, but you froth like cream, puts a little bit of butter in it, like just to bulk the fat out. So you don't taste it, but you're bulking the fat out, and oh, it's so good. It's immense.
I mean, that sounds unbelievable, to be honest.
It is unbelievable. Like, but the first week is killer. It is absolutely, like, I wanted to just cry every day last week, because I'd been out of keto for probably about a year. And so going back into it, and I'm feeling like I'm going to go to festivals and stuff. Do you know what I mean? You just eat what you can get when you get them. And like, coming out of all of that sugar, carbs, I was like, why do I hate my life so much right now? So I couldn't do much. I couldn't do podcasts or anything, because I think that, that energy would have just gone into it. But it's about day 5, it clicks, and your body's like, let's go for a run. And you're like, okay. Like,
yeah, you're just along for the ride at that point. Yeah.
The brain's like half the mile down the road, but your body's already gone. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. I'd recommend anyone give it a go, to be honest, because it's the body's one thing, but the cognitive function and the benefits that you get up here as well is crazy, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, because your body needs fat. So if you're completely on I did a study about like low cholesterol diets and how actually it impacts the brain. I did a low fat diet off and on for years, and I always felt brain fog when I had no fat in my system.
Yeah. Yeah, it's essential. It is essential. And people still demonize the word fat, without actually knowing that, well, here's a bunch of healthy sources of it. It's
yeah, not the like greasy kebabs, but I mean they're all right every now and again.
oh yeah, they're banging, don't get me wrong.
Can't go wrong with a nasty kebab like that. So I always ask people on podcasts, depending on where they're from, what do you think? I mean, for us, we're British. So what do you think is our staple British meal?
Oh man.
I think there's loads.
There are loads, and everyone says that food in the UK is shit. And to be fair, for the most part, it is. But I think, the clues in the name, a full English breakfast,
Yep.
I've seen other countries try and replicate this. When you go on holiday, and there'll be the odd place that does a full English breakfast, and it's you're not doing it right.
You're not doing it properly. Yeah.
Doing it properly. Where's the black pudding?
Yes. Black pudding is life. Sorry.
So a full English or a roast dinner, I think it would have to be one. And I know that is almost a bit stereotypical, but or maybe cottage pie. I don't know. There's actually more than I thought of initially, but I think full English or a roast dinner. Full English or a roast dinner.
Fish and chips as well.
Fish and chips. I forgot about that. Yeah, great.
For me, it's got to be a pie. We've got to have pie and chips with gravy.
See, I'm not a huge pie fan. I've got to be honest.
Really?
If I'm really in the mood for when it comes to food, I really have to be in the mood for something like that, and then I'm yeah, let's go. But 99% of the time, I'm just not in the mood for it. But when I do have it, I really enjoy it. But yeah, it's very small pockets of opportunity to have it.
Absolutely. I read somewhere that we created, was it a Scottish created the chicken korma?
No, get out.
No, I'm deadly serious. Or is it the masala? It's one of them, but they don't have it in state that India. They don't do I'm sure it's a korma.
It might be a korma, because there's a great Indian restaurant here called Urban Tandoor in Bristol, right? Also, just follow them on social media. Their social media game is 10 out of 10.
I'm gonna look them up.
Urban Tandoor, especially around Christmas time.
With the three guys, and they do this. I've seen them. Yeah,
they're incredible. And I'd stumbled across their social media, and I thought, okay, we need to go check that out. The food is immense in there. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
you're getting served by the guys as well. It's I've seen you on Instagram.
yeah.
But yeah, they don't do a korma in there, so maybe there's something onto that. You might be onto something.
I'm gonna Google it. Is chicken korma British? Oh, I reckon it is, I'm convinced. I'm sure it is. There'll be someone listening going, it is. Why are you Googling it?
It's super wild, isn't it? So it wouldn't surprise me because
it was heavily modified by the British to become very sweet because, yeah.
That makes sense because our taste buds aren't, they're not exactly, they can't handle heat. I mean, I like my spicy food, but whenever I go to have a curry, it's usually a korma just because I like the way it tastes. I just think, gorgeous, like the creamy coconutty vibes. Damn, you learn something new every day. That's crazy.
Butter chicken's the one. If I'm gonna have a korma, it's butter chicken every time because that's quite sweet. It's lovely. But when I'm in keto and I fancy a curry, my local Indian will actually tailor it for me.
Oh, that's lush.
I'll message them saying, can I have a sugar-free curry, and just take all the sugar out, and they put extra butter in for me. They're lovely.
Oh, I bet that makes it even better.
So yeah, I always finish a podcast by saying, if you could give some, anyone out there, just a piece of advice, it could be something that you've experienced, what would it be?
That is a great question. I might have to take a second to think about that.
That's all right, because I've got editing software. It's no big deal. 10 minutes, I can just scrub it out.
Fantastic question. Okay, I would say creatively, just trust your gut instinct creatively on things, because I like, take this from someone who's taken bad advice from people. That's kind of, I kind of strayed away from where I wanted to go creatively for maybe 4 or 5 years in my career, which is a big chunk of that, you know. So from like 2020 onwards, it was very, very heavy tech house for me, and that wasn't actually the direction I wanted to go musically. It was not forced upon me, but like I'd had success in that space, and I loved the music as well, which helped. But ultimately, creatively, like I wasn't making what was filling my cup, if that makes sense.
Of course.
That is purely down to advice that I received, which was like, look, you have to pick a lane and stick with it. Like, which I understand in the music industry. Like, you know, especially in house music, especially in the bubble of tech house, you know, you've got your tool room sound, you've got your defected sound, and there's a whole spectrum in between of different, you know, styles of tech house. So from a choose your lane point of view, I get that. However,
Yeah.
I was basically receiving bad advice in terms of what to do creatively, and I just ran with it because I thought that certain people knew better because of the position they were in the music industry. So for a while, I wasn't filling my cup with the music that I was making, and I think that probably slowed down the progress of my career by maybe, you know, 2 or 3 years. However, now that I'm fully in control of what I'm putting out, and I'm not really kind of taking external advice on board. Well, I take advice on board, but I'm not taking creative decisions on board from other people, because it's my project, it's my baby, and I want to put out what I want to put out.
Absolutely.
So my advice would be, just whatever your creative vision is, stick to that. Don't let any external voices impact the work that you put out, because it won't fill your cup, one, and you know, it's your baby, so look after your baby. That's all I would say. Yeah, just trust your gut instinct, follow your creative vision, and don't let external voices impact that. That's what I'd say.
I agree with you, because we all do, like, especially with, like, you know, when you first come, like, going off the ground, people are gonna be like, well, if you do this, you're gonna grow. If you go down that direction, and sometimes you're like, well, I don't want to.
Yeah, but yeah, absolutely, and you know, I've had that at different stages in my career as well. So when I first got into DJing, I had someone that was just like, you have to pick a lane. Like, you can't play house and garage and, you know, dubstep and drum and bass all in one set. And I was just like,
yes, I can.
why not? But
Why not?
then he was just like, well, you won't get booked. And because he was in a position where, like, he was booking really big shows in the town that we were in at the time, I just took what he said verbatim. So I stuck to my lane, which was tech house. And then, you know, fast forward a few years later, I have a label rep who's just like, oh, these demos are great, but you have to choose your lane, like what you're going to make. And I was making loads of different stuff, and I was just like, well, I like making all this kind of stuff. And he was just like, well, you know, we want consistency, so you got to pick a lane. So again, creatively, I chose a lane, and I was just like, right, I'll do that then. And then later down the line, it was management. So, like, you know, slowly and slowly, like, my vision's getting smaller and smaller based on what other people tell me is the right thing to do. And now I'm just like, the Pandora's box is open now. Like, you cannot put it back in. So yeah, it's a very freeing place to be. And I recommend people find that place as soon as you possibly can, because then you'll get the most honest representation of who you are as an artist.
There you go. That makes perfect sense. Honestly, you've been a breath of fresh air to talk to today about, like, everything from hospitality to chorus. So it's been brilliant. So
No, thank you, Amy. I mean,
it always teeters off. It happens on every episode. We just start talking about something else, and I love it. So
hey, listen, we ticked all the boxes. No, thank you, Amy. It's been lovely.
no, you've been amazing. Thank you, lovely.
Thank you very much for watching, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure once again. If you're looking to be a sponsor, a guest, or you're just interested in finding out more about what I do, don't forget to find me on all social media platforms at Bass and Boundaries. Until next time.